in front of my babies. You got no more shows up in here. What kind of freak store is this? And you two motherfuckers need Jesus.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Daily Freddo. Very often in my content I compare what's happening in woke USA, Canada or some of the more progressive liberal European countries with the culture I grew up in or live in today. For those of you who are new here, I am from Poland but live in Cyprus half my life, and both those countries are mostly conservative. So when I see crazy things happening overseas, I can't help thinking this shit would never fly here. And today's episode takes the cake.
Where do you take a cake? To the movies? You know where I would take a cake? Down to the bakery to see the other cakes.
In my recent content, a few times actually, I've referred to the LGBTQ movement as a cult or as a religion. And I truly believe that in our times it became that. People are so blinded by the cause, they lose all sense of logic. So there are few things I saw online recently that are hard to believe to be true. Let me roll the clip first and comment after.
Drag queens are often targets of hate and violence. But we know that they are powerful and resilient people who show us what it means to be truly authentic and expressive. We honor their strength and pledge to be allies to the drag community, recognizing their full humanity and their incredible contributions to our world. We embrace radical inclusivity and work to dismantle systems of oppression, fight against all forms of hate, prejudice, and intolerance, in order to build a world that affirms and celebrates every person's unique identity and gifts.
It's not a movie, it's not a parody, it's real. It's a snippet from a drag Sunday event in Dallas, Texas, USA, where they could pray for the drag queens. Although in this clip it looks more like praying to the drag queens. The church claims the drag queens need the prayer because they are oppressed. I've done quite a few episodes of shit that wouldn't fly here, but this is a new level of insanity for me. Praying in a real church to oppressed drag queens. Is there even sense in me commenting on that? Are there words to express how ridiculous and demented this is? It would never fly here. Cyprus is a super religious country. Most of the people here are of Greek Orthodox faith, and they actually practice this faith. Same in Poland. It's a Catholic country. Of course, not everyone is practicing, but there is a level of respect for those that do, and nobody would ever pull a stunt like that. Anyway, back to oppressed drag queens. Oppressed how? Because majority of the world won't allow drag queens in elementary schools. Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's a thing now. Drag Queen Story Hour. The woke movement is pushing this concept onto the schools, not only in the USA, but also in bigger European countries, and it's absolutely insane. Here is an example, and believe me, I have worse ones, more explicit ones, but don't want another problem with algo gods on here. Have a look.
On the drag queen, go shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
Oh yeah.
Anybody know what a shimmy is? Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
I think I have that
Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. The shoulders on the drag queen go shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
Yeah, like this shirt.
What sane person would find it okay for kids to take part in? Do we really have nothing better to teach our kids than this? And I realize, of course, that the guy in the video is not in full drag per se. I got plenty of video examples of this insanity in my other video about sexual education for kids and the insane standards that are being implemented in schools all over the world. So click here if you'd like to watch it, and I'm linking it in the description as well. Some users commented, "Thank goodness I'm homeschooled." Another one, "Kids like stories, they see no wrong, but we still have to be careful of the content they are listening to. So it's age appropriate and not to confuse them." But there were also a lot of comments stating that there is nothing wrong with it, that kids are just having fun, it's just reading stories. What could it possibly do to our kids? Well, in combination of all those factors, drag queens in schools, drag queens in church, inappropriate sexual innuendos during story times, and of course insane parents, here's an example of what could happen.
All right, we're gonna give you 60 seconds of lip sync.
It says kids taught to dance for dollars by their crazy woke liberal parents and drag queens. Yep, Who cares, right? It's just dancing. It's innocent to her. We are the bad guys sexualizing the innocent activity, right? So now not wanting drag story hour, not wanting it to happen to our kids at school or any other place is being portrayed as oppressive of drag queens. It's like when biological men are trying to be included in women's sports. Refusing it is not oppression, okay? It's logic. Common sense. Whatever happened to that in the world? The video I showed you at the beginning of the drag queen prayer hour, as I like to call it, seriously feels like a skit. Like a joke. Here are the user comments. I grew up 15 minutes from this church. They've always been inclusive of LGBT folks, but this is just wacky. Praying to be allies of drag queens? These types of people proclaim to love diversity, but God forbid you don't go along 100% with their woke program. Yep, like I said, pure insanity. Another one, what is this circus? And this one, I'm an atheist and this makes me genuinely mourn for Christianity. Weird spot to be in. Anyway, the Pink News wrote about the drag queen church service. The service is inclusive, LGBTQ friendly focus was in response to anti-drag Texas Senate Bill 12, which passed in April but was blocked by a federal judge just before it was set to take effect on 1st September. According to Dan Patrick, the bill would outlaw lewd of sexualized performances in public spaces or in the presence of minors that involve the use of accessories or prosthetics that exaggerate male or female sexual characteristics. Senior Pastor Thomas told the Dallas Morning News that the bill is a part of growing prosecution of drag queens and trans people in the US. So the church felt that drag queens were being oppressed because the law was going to forbid them from performing in front of kids wearing fake tits. It's like a fever dream. First of all, sexually charged performances shouldn't be allowed in front of minors, period. It shouldn't even be a discussion. It's common sense. We all used to agree on that. People on the left, people on the right, people in the middle, we all preached the same thing, that we can't involve kids in those things. Stay away from kids. Now suddenly kids is all we talk about. There is this push from liberals to sexual children to force sexual content on them, to make them numb to certain inappropriate things, all under the convenient cover of LGBTQ. If you don't allow it, you're homophobic. What a nonsense. Drag queen shows can be spectacular. They can be a lot of fun. Kinky, sparkly, funny, yes. Great way to spend an evening. For adults. The article continues. In prayer together, congregants said, "We honor their strength and we pledge to be allies to the drag community." I'm trying to stay serious through this episode. Just bear with me. "We embrace radical inclusivity and work to dismantle systems of oppression. We will fight against all forms of hate, prejudice, and intolerance." It continued with the congregation committing themselves to stand for justice and defend the rights of all people. Radical inclusivity, another term we will grow to hate. Anything labeled radical shouldn't have a place in a society. And what rights are we defending for drag queens? I'm pretty sure when it comes to standard adult performances, TV shows, any form of entertainment for grown-ups, all rights are there. All is good. But as soon as we say, nope, no access to kids, it's oppression, have you people lost your minds? Article continues. Still, according to the church's website, it welcomes all minorities in its mission of proclaiming Christ through faith, hope, and love. So drag queens are a minority now. I give up. You can't argue this level of pure nonsense. But there are more cuckoo churches and pastors out there. Take a look at this clip.
Drag is holy. There has been an assault on the rights of drag performers in this country, and we must call out the hypocrisy and the injustice. Jesus called himself a mother hen longing to gather up her chicks. Gender is a construct, you see. And if Jesus can be a mother hen, then you can dress in drag. I've even heard it said that Jesus was, and humanity is, God in drag. So let me say this again for those of you in the back. Drag is holy.
Drag is holy.
Holy sh**.
Even if you're not a religious person, even if you're against religion in general, you must admit, this is f***ing crazy. Some users said, he is full of something, but I don't think it is the Holy Spirit. Another one, I have heard a lot of nonsenses lately, but these are way totally ridiculous. What an embarrassment to the people of the world. God help us. But that's not all. Let me show you another clip from a church and the new way of prayer. And mind you, There are minors in the crowd.
Her name is Britta Filter, and she is the Queen of New York! Yeah!
And comments on that video reveal something very disturbing, if it's true, of course. I read where the kids felt pressured to stand, clap, and act as if they were having fun, but in reality, many were very uncomfortable. Someone answered, "My friend's cousin was told if they didn't clap and act happy, they were going to get detention." I remember being in my early 20s when I went to a drag show. And guys, I was uncomfortable. I'm not a prude, I'm not against drag shows for adults, but me, being a young woman, I was feeling uncomfortable. It wasn't for me. So I can only imagine how kids feel being forced to look at it and not having a mental capacity to grasp what's truly going on. Why is this man dressed like a woman, with his ass cheeks out, pretending to sing? And why are people screaming and cheering him while he does it? Is there even a way to justify it to a kid? Here is a part of this incredible performance. Have a look. If it was a nightclub, I wouldn't even bat an eye. But it's a church full of kids. There is just too many levels of wrong here. Someone said, "I'm a Muslim, but the amount of disrespect." Another one, "Try doing this in a mosque. Just try, please." It wouldn't fly. There are many reasons why church and Christianity are being mocked today, hated, ridiculed, or at the very least forgotten. I won't even pretend that it's not the fault of the church. We heard of many instances of predatory priests, for example. This is a huge taboo topic, sparking outrage, yet conservatives aren't willing to discuss it openly. How are things for our children supposed to improve if we are just pointing fingers at the other side? That's why I often say, although I am leaning more towards the right, always stay on the side of logic. I am open to dialogue, criticism, arguments, or at least a conversation. We all just have to remember that two wrongs don't make a right. It is not a good thing that people lose faith. And I think it's not a loss of faith in God, it's loss of confidence in church, in people who claim to preach the word of God. But that's a topic for a whole different episode. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in me talking about it. But let's hear from a drag queen that speaks about exposing kids to drag.
I have no idea why you want drag queens to read books to your children. I have no idea. What in the hell has a drag queen ever done to make you have so much respect for them and admire them so much? Other than put on makeup and jump on the floor and writhe around and do sexual things on stage. I have absolutely no idea why you would want that to influence your child. Would you want a stripper or a porn star to influence your child? It makes no sense at all. A drag queen performs in a nightclub for adults. There is a lot of filth that goes on, a lot of sexual stuff that goes on. And backstage, there's a lot of nudity, sex, and drugs, okay? So I don't think that this is an avenue you would want your child to explore.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm so glad it came from a representative of drag world. Someone said, "Totally agreed. I don't understand why this society is so focused on forcing our children to grow up so fast and participate in adult stuff." Another one, "Kids like fun times and costumes. Drag queens manage themselves appropriately for kids like anyone else. Appeasement is not progress." But someone answered to that, "Strippers wear costumes too, so does KKK, but I wouldn't want them reading to my child either." Yikes, your poor kids. What the hell? You, who doesn't want to expose kids to sexual content, your poor kids. You know, I remember the times when you had to be licensed to work with kids, to perform in schools or to do anything around children. I don't know if that was ever the case in USA, but it surely was in other countries. Any adult who wanted to work with kids had to be registered, licensed. I feel so lucky that I went to music school in Poland, which always prioritized proper values, instilled in me charisma, manners, and knowledge. Our field trips were going to the theater, opera, museum, not having men in sparkly tight costumes read to us about queerness and stuff.
Sweetheart, don't say and stuff.
My parents took me to church every Sunday, and believe me, there were no dancing men wearing thongs either. The only thing I'm confused about today is why are there so many parents that expose their kids to it? They say that it's to make the kids more open-minded. Can't it be done at an appropriate age? Does it really have to be done at all? Are drag queens really oppressed by people who don't go along with this circus? As usual, I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, check more of them out here. And of course, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications to never miss another Daily Freddo episode. For even more content, follow me on Instagram @dailyfreddo. That's all for today. Have a good one.
And if Jesus can be a mother hen, then you can dress in drag.